Good afternoon, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. And I was doing a lot of research, doing a lot of thinking as well, is the amount of debt that we actually have as Americans. And what actually started off a lot of this debt. We understand, I'm not going to go back into a whole history lesson, but we understand that Nixon transferred the backing of American dollar from gold to debt back in 1971 when he became president. And of course, he got impeached. One of the few presidents who's ever got impeached and actually officially got impeached. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the point I'm making is this. So there's a lot of forms of debt in America. And I believe that in order first to get rid of that debt, we need to understand that debt and where the large portion of our debt actually comes from. So a lot of you have school debt, medical debt, and credit card debt, and maybe some personal loan debts within there. And I just want to show you guys some information that may be shocking or maybe something that you already know according to the debt that we have in this country. Because a lot of times we think that, and I know growing up for me, we think that once we get a loan and that loan give us the money, whoever that, investor is who give us that money, that loan company, the person that we lended the money from, once we get the money, we believe now that we don't have an obligation for some reason. Like we have some sort of psychological disbogglement of our mind, disconnection from the amount of money that we actually owe somebody, right? And I don't know why that is. We feel as though that when the collectors call us, when they give us these like, oh, you're going to pay us our money now, granted. The people on the other side of the call, I never really pay attention to them. But what I do understand is that I owe people money and I need to pay off these loans. So let's go over first where a lot of this money that we owe. Let's go over that first, okay? So right now, the credit card debt of U.S. household is approximately $5,700, okay? $5,700 according to the most recent data from the Survey of Consumer Finances by the U.S. Federal Reserve. Now, we understand that this number right here is a lot more, including COVID-19. This has risen and raised the credit card debt because now a lot of us are doing what? Because we're out of work, we're furloughed, we have less hours, okay? So we're using credit cards as an extension of wealth. We're using credit cards as a backup. We're using credit cards as an emergency means of paying off bills, paying for food, gas, or whatever. But there's a select few of you, I know this to be true, who are using those credit cards illegitimately, meaning you're going out buying things you absolutely don't need, and then you cry about the bill that actually comes in the mail. Okay? So let's move on. According to the Experience 2019 Consumer Debt Study, total consumer debt in the U.S. is $14.1 trillion, with Americans carrying an average per personal debt of $90,000. Now you're asking yourself, I'm listening to you talk about debt. How is this going to help me? I'm just making you guys familiar, and then we're going to get into how to delete and eradicate, okay, and decrease your debt. But we first need to understand that you're not the only person in debt. There's a lot of Americans in debt. And of course, this particular average is also probably including your car and or your house, okay? Because essentially, let's just keep it real. The house that you live in, unless you have the deed, is not your home. It's the bank's. Stop paying the bill and you see what I'm talking about. Well, my house is not your house. It's not your house. And as far as your car, if you do not have the title, it is not as your car. I'm going to tell you why. Stop paying the car note. And then you'll see if somebody come and pick it up for you. They're going to pick it up for you and take it somewhere where they can store that for you, but you can't drive it again. It's called repo. All right. Student loan, one of the biggest debts in America. Okay. A lot of us have it. Thank God I don't have it, but a lot of us has it as Americans. $32,731 average student loan debt in the United States. The average college debt among student loan borrowers in America is $32,000, according to the Federal Reserve. This is an increase of approximately 20% from 2015 to 2016. Most lenders have between $25,000 and $50,000 outstanding in student loan debt. Now, a buddy of mine, he went to Penn State. And I think the last time I checked, he had like, $50,000 or $60,000 in debt. Ladies and gentlemen, that is astronomical just to go read a few books, test out. But here's the dream of America. Okay, here's the dream of America, right? You're going to go and take out these huge loans. Now, some of you got scholarships, right on. You got financial aid, great stuff. You got grants, also good. But a lot of Americans, right, we want these phenomenal jobs. We want to be an engineer. We want to be a technologist. We want to be a doctor, a lawyer. We want to be in all these particular fields, right? So you have to go to school 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, okay? And guess how much that cost us per person? It costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, and granted, you're going to come out making 80 grand, and then the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to be making six figures easily. And some of you say in that profession, you're making $200,000, but all the while, you have this debt hanging over your head while you're still trying to live this American dream. Now, in accordance with that, the interest, unless you have a student loan of some sort that is interest free, or you can defer it up to a certain amount of time, but you still have to pay off this debt. Now, look at this. Look at this. Now, 32% of American workers have medical debt. Now, we talked about student debt, credit card debt, and we're talking about medical debt. A lot of us have medical debt because guess what? Either some of us has grade A medical insurance or we don't. Some of us have very low copays. Some of us have very high copays. Then those emergency room visits, those ambulance rides. Now, you know what? I was thinking about this. If you guys ever rode around an ambulance, I think the ambulance should be a Bentley. It should be a Lamborghini. It should be Ferrari, because after you get that bill of like $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 from rolling around an ambulance just because they gave you some saline inside of an IV, no. I want my money back. Show me where the gas in this ambulance was jet fuel. That's what I want to know. Nonetheless, we're paying astronomical prices also in medical, but the debt is even larger. And we're not going to even get on how COVID-19 has increased a lot of you guys' medical debt. But let me tell you this. There is certain ways in America that they've made. If you have the information, you can go and get some of this reduced, some of this forgave, and some of this canceled. Let me share this information with you in case you guys already don't know. Now, I'm on studentaid.gov. So a lot of you, regardless if you're in school right now or you're out of school, a lot of you still have student debt. And believe me, I know student debt is killing you. You hate to pay it. You don't want to pay it. But have you guys ever visited this federal government site? Okay, federal government site that is going to show you and teach you and learn the process of loan forgiveness, loan cancellation, and also discharge of certain loans. Now, I want to make you familiar, okay? I want to make you familiar because this alone is already an hour session that I went over this one page. But here we're talking about the summaries below offer a quick view of the types of forgiveness, cancellation, and discharge available for the different types of federal student aid, federal student loans. You have your public service loan forgiveness. You have your teacher loan forgiveness. You have your closed school discharge. Now, I think this dates back to where schools were closing. Essentially, there's some relief there. Because it says here, if your school closes while you're enrolled or soon after you withdraw, you may be eligible for discharge of your federal student loan. Because there were some schools that actually closed. Okay, they were fairly small schools, nothing on like Division I schools, but they're talking about a lot of those small schools were actually closing, that a lot of you could have went on in here and got some money back and got your student loans forgiven. Here's another thing. Now, the only issue I see with this is if you go on here and you say, hey, my school closed a year or two ago and I was still paying on my student loan because I wasn't aware of this information, I'm not quite sure if you're going to get back paid on that amount that you actually was paying the federal government. Hint, hint, we're over 20-something trillion dollars in debt. FYI. All right. Perkins loan cancellation and discharge. This is also something to look into if you have this particular loan. Total and permanent disability discharge. Now, if you're totally and permanently disabled, you may qualify for discharge of your federal student loans or aid. Here's the thing. If you know anyone in your family, friends, let them know about this as well. Now, discharge due to death. In this particular instance, they're talking about family members who have possibly been a part of the loan or in that household where now that loan was transferred to them because of a death of the person who actually owned this amount. You might need to do your research on that as well. Discharge and bankruptcy. Now, the rich, ladies and gentlemen, they absolutely do this all the time. They file Chapter 11 for protection. They file Chapter 13 so they don't have to pay back money to other organizations and lenders and borrowers and all that stuff, okay? And you can use this same tactic, okay? Your commander-in-chief has used bankruptcy at least 3 or 4 times to get out of, let's say, would-be business deals, things that were not on the up and up, supposedly, where 50 Cent filed bankruptcy a couple of times. And listen, those two gentlemen, I like to do compare and contrast. They're still rich. They're still rich. Okay. Now one's a millionaire. The other one is one is a billionaire. The other one has hundreds of millions of dollars, and they use bankruptcy to use to protect themselves for anyone coming and suing them and or taking their money. I forgot the terminology where they garnishing your wages or garnishing your assets. That actually, a lot of Chapter 11, Chapter 13, you have to read inside those policies and guidelines to figure out which one actually protects you in certain instances. This is very important, okay? This is very important when it comes to student aid and you started a business out of school or you started a business in school. A lot of these particular aid, grants, cancellations, discharges can absolutely help you, okay? Borrow defense to repayment. False certification discharge, unpaid refund discharge, eligibility for parent borrowers, how to apply for forgiveness, and here's the information that you guys need. Again, this information is coming from studentaid.gov. That's studentaid.gov. So please go visit it. Now, debt settlement. There's a lot of third parties out there offering you debt settlement. They want you, listen to this. I want you to listen to it in a very layman term. They want you to pay them to get rid of and to decrease and lower money you owe somebody else. They want you to pay them to call a lender so they can talk on your behalf to lower your payment. And they charge hundreds of dollars. And this is what they do. They don't just charge you hundreds of dollars right off the bat. They don't do that. What they do is they lure you in with some sort of special promotion price. They say, hey, for $60 a month. You're like, how long is this going to take? For $60 a month, what we're going to do is we're going to contact these creditors and we're going to lower and get rid of a lot of your debt. Ladies and gentlemen, please do this yourself. If anybody knows me, I offer free credit removal letters. It's a matter of a series. It comes with full instructions. Hundreds of people on my channel have used this information and it literally has wiped away debt. So please, I beg of you, don't go and give those third-party companies your money when you're out of money to get things off your credit report to get rid of your debt. No, you can do it yourself and it's easy. Now, debt settlement involves offering a lump sum payment to a creditor in exchange for a portion of your debt being forgiven. Okay? Debt settlement involves offering a lump sum payment to a creditor in exchange for a portion of your debt being forgiven. To successfully negotiate a debt settlement plan, it is important to stop It's important to stop. It's important to stop minimum monthly payments on that debt, which will incur late fees and interest and damage to your credit score. Okay. Typical debt settlements offer range from 10% to 50% of what you owe. The longer you allow debt to go unpaid, the greater your risk of being sued. Okay. Now, granted, I have never, ever heard of anyone being sued of not repaying a debt, whether it be credit card. Well, I heard of medical. I heard people, medical companies suing consumers for not paying back their debt, but that usually doesn't go anywhere. But I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that it doesn't happen as often as they make it may seem. Now, granted, you're trying to figure out how to go about getting rid of your debt. And listen, I can't stress this enough. Sometimes it takes a simple phone call for you to call in, and especially use COVID-19 as your springboard. Use COVID-19 as your starting point, because this is the time where you go in and you say, due to COVID-19, I am out of work, I'm under work, I'm furloughed, I'm strapped for cash. Can I please pay a portion of this because it's hurting my ability to obtain any sort of credit, and I have a debt with the interest that is occurring on my loan each and every month. This is the tactics that you guys need to use in order to get yourself rid of debt and to decrease your debt amount. It's very important. It's very important. And it takes a simple phone call. Now, granted, I'm a frugal guy. A lot of you are afraid. A lot of you are weary about going about it yourself. Now, in the description below, I'm a financial coach. You can hire me, but I'm telling you right now, I'm frugal. You know, we either be $35 or $55, but you can do it yourself. Okay. But if you absolutely want somebody to do it and you want to pay somebody to do it so you don't have to worry about it, I'll do it for you, but it's going to cost you. It's not going to cost you as much as those credit and debt collection places that they're going to like, oh, we'll call and we'll lower your credit. We'll get rid of your debt. I'm nowhere near that expensive, but I'm telling you right now, you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. It's easy. And here's the thing. Now, you're going to call them and you say, hey, this is, so-and-so. They're going to confirm your identity. They say, yeah, you owe us $4,000. You're like, well, I don't have $4,000. So automatically what I do is whatever number it is, I cut it almost in a third. If they tell me, hey, you owe us $4,000, and say, hey, listen, I have $1,300, I have $1,500 that I can pay right now if you wipe it away. They say, oh, well, no, we're going to have to get a manager. We'll get a manager, and you get a manager on the phone. They say, well, sir, do you want to do monthly payments? Listen to me. Never do monthly payments. Never do monthly payments. No. If you have a lump sum of money, like your stimulus check, if you have a lump sum of money, like being back paid from a job or a bonus or your tax return, this is the money that you should use to get rid of your debt. It's imperative. It's very important because you may not have another lump sum of money like this again. And a lot of you are taking that money and just using it frivolously, okay? I can't even, the words forget me, because the stupidity that people do when they have lump sums of money, knowing they have large sums of debt. Please use the money wisely and get rid of your debt, because people go out and kill themselves over debt. People commit suicide over debt. So I'm telling you, because debt handicaps you. Debt cripples you from doing anything. You will never be a homeowner if you don't already have one, if you have high amounts of debt. If they're noticing that you don't know how to manage your debt, you will never own a home. You may not even get freaking a loan for a double wide trailer nonetheless. So I'm telling you, you have to grab a handle on this thing and take control of your financial life. And the first thing that you need to do is get rid of your debt and debt settlement. Now, again, I tell you, you can go out and hire one of these jokers, one of these crooks out here they're talking about. And the only thing they're doing is going to do exactly what you will do. They're going to call the creditors and they're going to negotiate on your behalf. Guess what? Guess who the best negotiator right here? You are. You're the best negotiator. Okay? Because you're going to know what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, my credit score right now is probably around anywhere between a 750 and 800. Okay? Between a 750 and 800. And I showed it one of my last videos how different, whether it be Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, how they differ. They all differ like 30, 40, 50 points. However, Vantage, FICO, whatever, right? But that's not the point. The point is, how did my credit score even get above 700? Okay, how did it get above 720? It's because prior to that, I made mistakes just like anybody else. I had credit card debt, I had personal loan debt, and I had car debt that, you know, my car got repoed. I bought a car I shouldn't have bought. I was young and dumb. We make those mistakes. But let me tell you something about being young and dumb. It hurts when you get older because it takes 7 years. It takes 7 years for things to get off your credit report. And let me tell you what these fraudulent mofos do. So say, for instance, you have a phone bill with AT&T and you don't have the money. You lost your job. Your bill racked up. You was overseas. You used your phone. You didn't know that it was going to accumulate all those charges on your bill. So now you have a bill for $400. You're like, I'm not paying that bill. So you call in to negotiate with AT&T. Like, no, sir. You was roaming for however long, and then you owe this $400 bill, right? So when you don't pay that bill to AT&T, after a certain while, after like 60 or 90 days, they sell your account to a bill collector, okay? And then the bill collector is calling you for a lump sum. You're like, well, I'm not paying it. So you're thinking after 7 years, this particular account is going to fall off my credit. No. They don't do that. What they do is, as they hold that account for 7 years, within that 7 years, they continue to sell your account to another bill collection agency, and it stays on your credit report forever. Very few of them actually fall off. This is the bullshit that they do. Excuse me, had a Ross moment. This is the bull crap that they do, okay? So you have to take charge of your financial future, and the first step is your debt. So call on your own behalf and negotiate. Do not get wrapped into monthly payments, because even in those monthly payments, you incur interest. You incur interest. So please do not get wrapped. Say, listen, lowball them. Lowball. You are negotiating on your own behalf. You tell them $1,300, $1,400, but the amount you owe is $4,000. This is for an example. I'm using very broad, arbitrary numbers, okay? So here's the thing. They say, well, no, that's too low, sir. Well, you want to do monthly payments? Sir, I don't have enough money to do monthly payments. I have a lump sum right now of $1,300. I'm trying to get rid of this. And some of them will negotiate low down to almost 60%. They say, well, sir, we'll take $2,000. And then you say, well, because here's the thing. And I want you guys to be very, very aware of this. Please listen to me. Pull out your paper and pen. Do not forget what I'm about to tell you. This next part is so important for you to do. If you don't do it, it's not even worth you paying off your loan. Listen to me. If you don't do this next thing, what I'm about to tell you, it's not even worth you paying off the loan. This is part of the negotiation that's very imperative. When you get to a negotiating amount that you both agree on, okay, that you're going to pay out, no monthly payments, you tell them, hey, in order for me to pay this money, I need for you to delete this from my credit account. Delete it, okay? Especially now, two things, because if it's with a collection company, it's already in bad standing. Now, some people will tell you advise against this because it's part of your credit history, and your credit history is 35% of your credit score. Listen, once it got sold to that creditor, your ass is already in trouble. So you need to get it deleted, or if they can report it for that company, AT&T, whoever it may be, in good standing, meaning always on time, never late. Always on time, never late. That's going to help your credit score. But if they can't do that for that particular company of that bill collection, negotiate, say, hey, once I pay this $2,000, are you agreeing that you're going to delete this from my credit report? Here's another step. If they say, yes, we can delete this from your credit report. Because if you don't, they're going to say this is a charge off. This is a bad debt credit. This is a bad credit debt. This is a charge off. It's still going to hurt your credit. It's still going to hurt your credit score. So you need to get the account deleted, okay? Before you pay the money, tell them on their business letterhead to send you a letter stating if you paid upon the agreed amount that they would delete this account from your credit report, okay? From your credit report. That's the first thing. Once you get that letter, then you pay and you make sure you get a receipt and also a letter stating this has been deleted from your credit report. Most of them will absolutely do that for you. They will absolutely do that for you, okay? Another tactic to get debt off your credit report, to also lower your debt, because here's the thing. Where people don't understand that debt and credit are synonymous. They are intertwined. They are symbiote. They're tied together. They are the soul and spirit of your finances. Because here's the thing. When you're going out to get a house, they're not just checking your credit score. You're like, yeah, man, I got a 720 credit score. Doesn't matter. You can have a 720, a 850 credit score. If your debt to income ratio is too high, then you won't get the loan. Okay, so that's why it's imperative, ladies and gentlemen, that you do debt settlement, you get debt forgiveness, you do everything to lower your debt. Okay, to lower your debt, because again, debt will cripple you, debt will handicap you if you do not handle your debt. I'm giving you these tools, I'm giving you these methods because a lot of people don't know it's very, very simple to get debt out of your income, debt off of your portfolio, because no one teaches these things. Because guess what? America is ran off of debt. So a lot of people who lend you money, they don't want to teach you how to get this off your credit report, that you should pay more than the monthly amount, that any money that you pay over your mortgage, okay, over your car note, you want to make sure that your lender is applying it to your principal, whether it be your mortgage, whether it be your car note. Any extra money, like if you say, my car note is $500, but I pay $550, you need to call into your bank. You need to call into your lending company and say, hey, I want to ensure that any money over the amount of my car note goes to my principal, because principal is interest. Interest is compounding, whether it be for your good or for your bad. It doesn't matter. Because when I mean interest is compounding, if interest is compounding, would it be an investment account? That's a good thing, okay? You're going to make money compounding. But when it's against you, like your mortgage, your car, your credit cards, it compounds against you. So essentially what I'm saying is you're going to be paying more money even though you're paying the minimum amount. Never pay the minimum amount. Never pay the minimum amount. Never pay the minimum amount. Whether it be your car note, your credit cards, or your mortgage. Never pay the minimum amount. Always pay a little bit over. That way you can knock down the principal and it's not compounding against you, okay? That's what we need to understand about debt settlement. You're trying to get that debt to be forgiven. You're trying to pay it off at least. The least. Now, bare minimum, you want them to take off at least 30%. But the max I've seen, even for myself, has been 60%. I believe all the debt that I had in my past, I've never paid full price. Never will. I mean, I'm not that much in debt anymore, but I'm not going to pay that. Now, here's the thing. We understand if you file bankruptcy, that's going to take you about 7 to 8 years to rebuild. Okay, 7 to 8 years to rebuild. But there did come a time where I strongly considered filing bankruptcy. Okay, this was about 20 years ago. I had at the age in my early 20s, I had a lot of debt. I was like $50,000-$60,000 in debt. And I can't even tell you the many ways that I was in debt, because a lot of you had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 credit cards. Okay. Not only did I had a repo car, and I'm going to tell you what happened here. I'm going to tell you what I did when it came to my car. This was stupid. So I bought this car from a car lot in Virginia, and I was young. I was dumb. I just wanted a car. Okay. And when I bought this car, they said it was good. And I'm not calling nobody out, but these guys were Ethiopian. I'm not calling nobody out. I bought this car and it kept making these noises. It kept acting weird. So I took it to a mechanic. He said, yeah, your monks, whatever monks are, I still don't know to this day. Your front and rear monks are this, your ball burn joints. Man, it's going to cost you $3,000 to get this car fixed. So me being stupid, okay, I didn't already apply for the loan. They didn't already pay the car dealership. So I take the car back and I say, hey, this car is jacked up. Here's your car. They say, well, sir, you're going to have to get it fixed with your car. I'm like, well, no, you told me the car was good. They said, well, sir, we had a sign on the window say as is. I'm saying, well, I'm not taking it. So literally, I dropped the car, put the car on I put the keys on the car, right? Then I went right out and bought another car. Okay, I went right out and bought another car. So my dumb butt, before that loan could hit, because this all happened within 2 weeks. So before the other loan hit my credit, I went out and applied for another loan to get another car, and I was driving around that car. So lo and behold, I get called from the creditor. Say, hey, sir, you owe us this money basically, and you haven't paid. I said, oh, I turned that car in. They're like, what do you mean you turned it in? I was like, yeah, I dropped it off at the place that I bought it. They said, well, sir, they're not reporting. They didn't refund the money to us. So you're going to have to handle that on your end. So I go back to the car dealership and I say, hey, you guys didn't refund the money. They said, sir, we don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. They act like they didn't know who I was and everything. Man, let me tell you, I've been through some things financially. So come to find out, they dropped the car off at a Safeway somewhere. The tires were flat. It was all jacked up, right? So I had to hire I'm sorry. That's where the tow truck company found it at. So I tracked the car down. The tow truck company had it in their parking lot for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So I had to pay $1,000 to get it out for somebody to come and volunteer so I can repo it. So you're talking about somebody who was immensely in debt off of that one adventure, or venture, not adventure. It was not fun. And again, I was $50,000 in debt. And so what got me into the financial play, there got to be ways to get out of this. I have all this debt. I have this many credit cards. I have a car repo. I owe this on my last rent. I had so much debt. I had so much money that I owe people. I didn't know what to do except read. I read. That's all I did. I researched, and I researched. And I said, you know what? I need to teach people how to get out of this bull crap that a lot of these scammers do. Because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we all may love certain parts of America, but a lot of you know that the financial part of America is absolutely corrupt. It is absolutely corrupt. And if you don't have the information, they will do you in. They will destroy your life if you do not have the information to pull yourself out of it. They will destroy you. I promise you. I promise you they will destroy you financially. Let me read some of your notes here. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm not ignoring you. Good afternoon, Nolan Baptiste. Thank you, good sir. World Profiteer says, does this apply to all loans? In some shape, way, or form, it does. Scooter says only federal loans, I believe, at Wax. Okay. Ashley Hawkins, thank you, Ashley Hawkins, for the praises. I appreciate it. And Suburban Casualty, thank you for your best advice. What a great name, suburban casualty. War prophetess said shots fired at Ethiopians. No, there was no shots fired at Ethiopians, but they got me. Now, again, we can't, and we're in America. There's a lot of inflammatory statements that people can make that can condemn a whole entire race or a whole entire nationality of people. Okay, those Ethiopians at that particular car dealership, those three gentlemen were freaking crooks. Those guys, okay? Those guys. Now, what are some other things that you can do to get rid of that debt that's on your credit? Well, you can go in, and here's the thing. A lot of you are using the fast method. You're using Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You're going online, and you are disputing everything online. Now, it tells you it takes up to 30 days. It takes longer than that. Well, excuse me. It's been coming back quicker than that because you know what people are doing? People who say, well, this is your account. They're sending confirmation to the three credit agencies, right? And they're saying this is that person's account. Now, granted, I've done the same thing. Don't put your head down because even though I know that some of them were my account, know what I said? No contest. That's not my account. It was my account. It was my account. I'm the one who called in. I'm the one who applied for that loan. And then when I got myself into something my ass couldn't get me out of, I didn't pay. And I did not want to pay. Even though I knew I owed those people money, I didn't want to pay it. So what I did was I went online and I disputed. I said, that's not my account. I don't know who that person is. I don't even know. I didn't want to pay it, right? And none of us really want to pay it because we fall through these hard times. But ladies and gentlemen, let's be real. We owe those people that money. We owe them that money. We owe those people that money. Let me tell you, court is in session. We owe those people that money. So my advice is, again, I give away free, totally free credit letters. That's going to help remove those accounts from your credit report. Now, does it 100% work? No. But I can tell you my success rate of giving these free letters out to people and them using it to remove accounts is probably around 80%. It's a really, really good chance you're going to get one or more deleted collections accounts from your credit report. One or more. And guess what? When this happens, your credit score don't just go up 20 points. It goes up 50 points. It goes up 100 points, okay? Because the fast method is it works sometimes. It works sometimes. You go in there like this particular account was reported incorrectly. This account doesn't belong to me, right? You're disputing all these accounts on your credit report. But what happens is within 2 weeks, when they send that information out to that organization, they ping them back and say, nope, that's their account. Now, Fair Credit Report, the Fair Credit Report. Let me pop up something very quick. Let me see if I can find this very quick in one of my folders. Give me 1 second, because you guys need to understand this and actually know this information, because if you don't, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. Now, as I'm looking here we go. I want to find this information because the information is astounding, because if they don't have your written signature, listen to this. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, if they don't have your signature, right? If they don't have your John Hancock, so to speak, they don't have your signature, guess what they're supposed to do? Guess what they're supposed to do? They're supposed to wipe that from your credit report. They're supposed to absolutely wipe that from your credit report. Give me 1 second. Okay. So this is how the document actually looks. Okay. And as you can tell, it's dated back 2012. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all of this, but I at least wanted to show you that when I send you this information, totally free, don't think it's going to cost me a little bit of electricity, a little bit of internet. So I'm hitting the charges up on that. But you can read literally here all of the things that essentially will help you. Now, of course, there's a lot of federal jargon, but they talk about civil liability for willfully noncompliance, restriction on investigative consumer reports, public record information for employment purposes. Basically, they're giving you all the federal guidelines, what makes up the Fair Credit Reporting Act, okay? The Fair Credit Reporting Act. And basically, if these creditors don't have your signature, the credit reporting agency is supposed to wipe it from your credit report. How do I know it worked for me? It absolutely worked for me. So there's different ways to handle this. And I'm going to tell you this. This is the first method I tell people to go about when it comes to debt reducing, debt elimination, and debt settlement. This is one of the first things. Use federal policies, regulations against these organizations that you apply loans for that you're trying to get over with. I'm just being real. Use federal regulations, policies, and laws against these corporations, businesses, and organizations that you're not trying to pay them back their money. Because here's the gray area. They supposed to have your John Hancock. They supposed to have your written signature, whether it be digitally or, actual hard copy. That's why if you notice, a lot of companies say, hey, ladies, or hey, sir or ma'am, we're going to email you this, but you need to print it out. You need to sign it and you need to scan it and send it back. I know everybody's heard that before. That is because they need your signature. Anytime you just call up a business and you get credit or you open an account and then you don't pay and they put it on your credit report, okay, you can get away with that. I'm just going to be real with you guys. You can get away with that because they don't have your written signature. That's why a lot of organizations are now, when they put you into monthly subscription, because 10 years ago, when you was in a monthly subscription, they kept charging you, they kept charging you, they kept charging you, they kept charging you. Guess what they do now? They cut it off. They cut it off. Your electric company, they're not waiting. They're not giving you that extra 30 days. They may call you 5 days after, say, are you familiar that your bill is due? Because this next day we're going to cut you off. Because they understand if they don't have anything in writing, that you actually signed, you can go and contest that under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, especially if you hit your credit, and you can wipe off your credit and go to another vendor to get electricity. This is the way of America. This is America. You know what I'm tripping on? Yeah, I know that song. But ladies and gentlemen, that's the first thing. That is the first thing. Use these credit letters for your bidding to get rid of all those things off your credit report, which is going to absolutely lower your debt to income ratio. Number one. Number two, it's not going to work for every account. It's not going to work for every account. Equifax, Experian, TransUnion is going to mail you back a letter stating that these companies verified that this is your account. And you know that they're your account. So your next step is to do debt settlement. Call them to negotiate 50, 60% of the amount that you owe. If you owe 500, try to have them go down to 200 or 250. But again, I implore you, do not do a repayment program. Only do lump sums of money. They're like, oh, well, sir, we can put you on a monthly payment. A lot of those monthly payments actually have interest. So again, now you're in another monthly payment and now you're paying another sucker interest rate. And so now, oh, you'll pay this off in 1 year plus interest because they're making money off of somebody else's money, off of your money. Come on. Lump sums. Second, which is the most important thing I said today, okay? This is the most important thing I said today is when they agree to a certain amount, make sure they also agree to one, delete that collections account off of your credit report. Delete it. Just delete it. Some people are saying, well, it's going to hurt your credit history, which is 35% of your credit score. No, if it's in collections, delete it. delete it. Have them to delete it. And here's another thing. If you negotiated something that was $4,000 down to, say, $1,800, $2,000, then if they say, well, we're not going to delete it because you're not even paying half or whatever, first and foremost, you need to talk to a manager. Say, hey, listen, I have $2,200 to my name. I can borrow money from a friend. What if I gave you $2,500? Can you delete this from my credit report? They will negotiate on certain dollars amount if they would delete it from your credit report. Now, again, I need for you guys to get inside of your negotiating mind. You're trying to get this debt wiped off your credit report by all means necessary. And granted, there are some collection companies out there that will not even negotiate. A lot of medical companies won't even negotiate. They're like, no, you owe us this money. And you know what I say? You ain't getting shit. I'm not giving you nothing then. You don't want to negotiate and help me out? COVID-19 got us tripping out here. We're out of work. We're furloughed. No, if you don't want to negotiate with me, then I'm not even tripping. I'm not giving you not a dime. So a lot of them will negotiate with you, okay? And again, first, make sure they can delete it off your credit report. If not, have them to report it as always good, always on time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to read some of your notes and I'm going to get out of here. Keisha Pollard said, thanks for sharing. Well, thank you for joining me today, Keisha. I need some of those letters. And Keisha and anybody else that's in the chat, if you need those letters, just do a request through my email below. My email's below. That's rossworldllc@gmail.com. That's rossworldllc@gmail.com. Excuse me, I'm kind of like losing my voice. So excuse me, I feel like I've been really straining it. But anyway, my email address is in the description below. And of course, if you need a financial coach, that information is in the description below. This is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired. And please, if you ever want to own something in your life that you may need somebody else's money for, you need to manage your debt. This is your own personal responsibility. Either you're going to do debt forgiveness by one of the federal government agencies that I showed you, or you're going to debt settlement, or you're going to debt no contest and get it totally off your credit. Like I said, the effectiveness is around 75 to 80%. The other ones, you're going to have to negotiate. You guys have a great and wonderful day. Thank you, Nolan. I can't thank you enough. Oh, and of course, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel and give this a thumbs up. Everybody thumbs up for me. Be one, baby. I'm out.